Hi, my name is Tom Liptrot. I'm a freelance data scientist, and today I'm going to be speaking about when AI goes wrong. This is the third episode of a series I'm doing on places where I've seen artificial intelligence, machine learning, or data science go wrong. Some examples of where that can happen, and maybe a few tips to stop that happening to you. Today I'm going to be talking about things stopping working. So you might be working on a data science project, maybe building a predictive model or just building a series of reports or something. And it was working fine yesterday or the last time you looked at it. And today you open it up and it just won't work. You run through the scripts and you're getting errors all over the place. Things that were producing beautiful output a couple of days ago aren't doing anymore, and basically everything's stopped working. This is quite a common problem and something happens to me sometimes when I go back to projects that I've not worked on for a little while, and it's often because of kind of messy code in one way or another. So your code that you use to create things, often in a data science project, is created kind of iteratively. So you start maybe building something that's nice and neat, and as you add more features to it or more exploratory analyses on top of one another, the code gets messier and messier, and you introduce new dependencies, or maybe somebody else works on it, and you add in lots of little complications that mean that the next time you run it, it just doesn't work. So a really common thing for causing this is code being run out of sequence. So if you're running a series of scripts and each output kind of depends on the previous one being run or something like that, then you might end up thinking you've done everything in sequence and actually you haven't. So this can mean that every time you go back to an analysis, you're kind of having to start again, or you're having to unpick lots of things, which wastes a lot of time and ends up that you spend more time kind of unpicking errors and so on than actually doing the work you're supposed to do, which is solving some kind of problem. So how do we stop this happening? I think a lot of people probably know how to make this not happen, but they just don't put it into practice. So it's things like following conventions in how you organize your project. So having config files that specify dependencies, breaking out bits of functionality into functions and storing them in separate areas or in separate modules, and trying to reduce the amount of kind of dependencies on things all running in sequence. One thing that I find quite useful is just to every now and again delete everything and start again. So if you've got all your code in Git, just delete your Git repository, pull it again and start again, and then you'll find out where perhaps there was things which were dependent on you having bits of data in memory or having run certain things in the correct sequence. You find out where those problems come from. Another thing is using a kind of standardized directory structure. Commenting your code is useful, but not essential. Your code generally should be kind of self-explanatory. Things like data version control can be helpful, but overall, it's about thinking about your future self when you write code, rather than just solving the problem right in front of you. Try and think about, if you came back to this in 3 months' time, would it work? And if you think about that whilst you're making it, you won't run into those problems later on.